Lecha havaya tzedaka v'lanu boshes hapanim. To you, havaya is the charity, and to us is an embarrassed countenance. Hine teshuva osios Shabbos. Now teshuva is the same letters as the word Shabbos. Al yidei hateshuva shekadma la'olam. And just like teshuva came before the world, kamo Shabbos, just like Shabbos came before the world, like the Shabbos before the 6 days of creation, on Chav Daled Elul, Yochol or Yuchal, Hagia v'la'amor b'makom shetzadikim gemurim, you can reach and stand in the place of where the complete tzadikim inam umdim, where they're not able to stand. Ta'ainu b'chinas Shabbos unchulu. That is the concept of the Shabbos of Shabboses. V'hu inyan lecha havaya Hatzedaka, and this is the concept of that to you. Havaya is the charity, al yidei shalanu boshes hapanim, through us having an embarrassed countenance. L'havin kol zeh, and to understand this, tiniksiv kel deos havaya, it says that kel is havaya is a kel deos. He's a divinity with different opinions. Sovel shnei deos hofrim. He can handle two opposite opinions or viewpoints. They are achas milamata lamayla. One viewpoint from below to above, v'hu b'hisavus ma'in liyesh, and that viewpoint is the creation from that it is from nothing to something. B'chol nivra lefi ercho, to each creation according to its level. Harei ha'iskalus hageshim naruchnius, that the revelation of the physical from the spiritual is from the spiritual. Nonetheless, the revelation of an existence, and its source is not seen at all. So the physical is revealed from its source, its spiritual source, and it seems to be in existence, but its source is not recognized at all. And it's as if it's not there. And like the radiance of the sun on the earth, that the source of this radiance, is the sun itself. It's from the sun, and it's from the essence of the but the essence of the sun is not recognized, its essence on the earth at all. And it's the radiance that we see. We see the light from the sun. We don't recognize it as the sun, even though it's coming from the sun, because it's a revelation from the essence. And any revelation, the revealed thing seems to be in existence for itself. So we don't see the essence of the sun on the earth at all. We only see the light that comes from the sun, and it's the light that seems to be what's existing, and the sun beyond is the concept of Ayin. But the truth is, since it's only a revelation of the sun, the essence of the sun alone, so the essence is the true existence and the true thing that's being revealed. It's really revealing the sun, even though it's only a light from the sun. And its revelation is incomparable to it. And it's truthfully not, that it doesn't hold any existence at all. But it's simply that it's not a physical thing that we can see its source and so forth. Aval ha'ayin shel ha'makor legabe ha'iskalus hu bebchinas dimyon shenidme lo makoro bebchinas ayin v'istalkus chulu. But the knot of the source in comparison to what's revealed, it's a concept of a likeness that the source is compared to not. So meaning to say that the actual not, the actual nothing, is the light. That in comparison to its source, it's really nothing because it's revelation of the source, but the actual yesh is the etzem that's revealing. But we don't recognize the source, so it's a dimyon. The act when this that we call the source and ayin is only a dimyon. It's an imagining a borrowed term, because it seems to us as it's a concept of not and removed, because we only see the light revealed below. And another allegory, like the intellect of the student that's very contracted, that's taken from the depth of and the breadth of the intellect of the rabbi, of his teacher, that it's also compared to a cause and an effect from the rabbi to the student. Now, from the tremendous contraction of the light of the intellect that he receives, he thinks that the way the rabbi understands it is just like it's in his mind, the explanation that he understands. But the student will not see and grasp the depth of the grasping of the rabbi, but rather will be a state of naught in comparison to him, vistalkus, and removal. That is because of his contracted state of receiving. And any person who receives from the source in not such a contracted state, will understand more of the depth of the rabbi. So too in all cause and effect, any time when the effect is more contracted than the cause, it will be more of an existence in something, as if he is alone, and the cause will be more removed and more of an ayin in comparison, the further the distance between the cause and the effect. And any time when the effect is from the cause, from a deeper place in the cause, it comes out of the cause and from in a deeper way, the cause of the cause. If it's rooted there, it'll be more nullified to the cause because it comes from there. So the cause and the effect have a relationship with each other, depending on how closely connected they are. That's how much of the cause will be revealed to the effect. So it's found then that the viewpoint of the giver and the receiver are opposite. The opinion and viewpoint of the giver knows the depth, and how contracted the one who is receiving it understands it. That he knows that it's only a glimmer and a light from him. And the opinion of the one who's receiving, the viewpoint of the receiver, that's drawn after the contracted state of the giver. Nidmelo ki ilu hamashpia ein v'istalkus chulu v'dal. He does not recognize the giver, and it's as if that knowledge that's within the rabbi is not there, and it's gone away because he has no recognition of that true depth of the rabbi's knowledge, or the true depth of the giver, like the concept of the sun that he brought before, that the glimmer is incomparable to the actual sun that gives the light. Vini calls Bekelim de Atzilus. Now all of this concept is in the vessels of Atzilus, Hashem Bechinas Hamshachas, or Ein Sof Baruch Hu, which is a concept of drawing down. The infinite light may be blessed, in order so that it should be a source for confined creations. Like the world to come that was created with Yud, that the neshamas receive a radiance there from only a glimmer of the divine presence, just like from a Yud, from a small glimmer. Shaziv hu koach poel haeloki banifal, that the radiance is the strength of the causer into the caused. Mamosh lahavos tamid ma'ain liyesh, in order to continually create it from nothing to something, that this glimmer goes into Gan Eden, into the world to come, to constantly create and give. Imkein yishlem erech zelazeh, if so, it's if the koach hapoel, the strength of the doer, is within what's done, that means that it's enclosed within the action that it's doing, and there is a comparison one to the other, this active creative force of the Yud into the world to come. Like the contracted state of the student in comparison to his teacher, that there's a comparison that both are levels of intellect. Or like the strength to grow the grass from its spiritual source, that there's a comparison between the spiritual plant and the physical one. That this is a concept of cause and effect, and the rabbi who actively affects and is within the intellect of the student in order to give it and affect it. Like as is known, that from the lower level of the giver, it will be a source for, that's the source for the receiver. It's the level that he can handle. So there's a comparison between the top level of the receiver that he's receiving from the lowest level of the giver, that these are comparable levels. One can reach the other. That it's nonetheless, it's a concept of gradating from one level to the next. And they're comparable one to the other. And this, that both are a concept of intellect, one intellect to another. That's why it says in the world to come, the pasuk says to give my loved one a yesh, an existence that you're giving from an existence state to another. Because it's ilo va'olol, it's cause and effect. Nanin b'ziv shebe'emes haneshamos hem bedug maziv or v'ziv levad, that the truth is the souls are compared to a light and a glimmer alone, mikor hachayim chaye olam haba chulu, from the source of life and the life of the world to come, and so forth. Val mikol makom yishlem erech l'zel v'dal. Nonetheless, there's this comparison between the light that gives them life and so forth, and they and their life and their source of life V'hu inyan havaya echad, he bit alamekabel gabi hamashpia v'hayula achadim mamash. And that's the concept of Hashem is one, that you have this nullification of the receiver in comparison to the giver, and they become one. That you have this creation, that the creation is nullified to Hashem, and since the creation is nullified to Hashem, so we say Havaya Echad, Sheish Beis Dvarim El Hashem Yisachtim. That's the word Echad implies that they're one. These two things you have two things, but they've become one. That's the receiver and the giver. And why is that? Because the receiver is taken from the giver, that the one who receives his knowledge is from the giver. And all that he exists is as if it's not there, as if he's completely within the giver. As before, the state of that giver, of that intellect, is revealed as he is within exists within the giver in potential. Mimekoro, in its source, and it was included in its source. But when he came out as an existence for itself, and it becomes, but that's after. So that's like Yachid when it's in its source. But when it comes out and it says something for itself, but then it unites with its source again. So then we say they are Echad, they are one. Like two people, Shekal Echad bifnei atzmo nikra Echad, that each one on his own is called one, Afal pi shem biachad, even though they're together, Vidal and so forth. Aval Yachid, but the concept of singular, Hu she'ein zu laso klal, is when there's no one else at all. K'mo bincha yechidacha chulu, like your son, you're only one. Yitzchak v'hu inyan havaya lokeinu b'chinas Yachid, and that's the concept of. So if that's havaya echad, that you have two things that become one, so havaya lokeinu, that's the concept of Yachid. She'enu be'erech chayei ha'olamim, that's incomparable, beyond the life of the worlds. V'hu b'chinas kel ha'sovel beis hadeos, and this is the concept of the divine that's able to handle at the same time both of these viewpoints, shel mashpia v'amekabel, of the giver and the receiver, dahainu mehus oros midos of yisbarich, that is to say, the essence of the lights of his attributes, upnimius chachmas uvritzono, and the inner concept of the wisdom and will. V'Yisrael b'ni b'chori, and Yisrael, my son, my firstborn, Allah b'machshava pnimius, came up into inner thought, chachma, of divine wisdom, she b'chinas yachid, that this is the concept of singular, of alone, shein od klal, that all these attributes are, and Yisrael, as it is within its source, it's as if there's nothing else at all, shivutal, that you don't have to nullify it because it's just one with its source. You don't have to say that they became one. It's simply one state. And you can understand this according to what is explained in another place. And this that it says, you should enliven us from days, that you have the concept of the knot of the existence, and you have a concept of essence that cannot become a source for revelation. So the Ein of the Yesh is the source for the existence, but then you have the essential state that's beyond revelation, that's beyond that. That the flow with contraction of the contraction are equal to it. כמו שאם היה השגת הרב מאוד נפלא, שאין השגת התלמיד ערך כלל אליה. Meaning to say that for example, if the intellect of the rabbi is so great that the student has absolutely no grasp of such a type of intellect at all, so also the source that would give to that student is completely incomparable to the essence of the understanding of the rabbi. It's not that it's an idea that the student hasn't reached yet, hasn't learned yet, but will eventually get there, but it's completely beyond his understanding. ושווה אצל עצמיוס הרב, המקור שמשפיע לתלמיד, עם השגת התלמיד שמקל בצמצום גדול ודל. And so the source in the rabbi that gives to the student that which is comparable to the student's mind within the rabbi and the student's mind itself, both of these levels, in comparison to the essence of the rabbi's knowledge, are completely not. They're both much lower and comparable. וכמו כן, כל חיי העולם הבא, אין להם ערך למהוסו ועצמוסו יזברך. So too, all of the life of the world to come is not comparable at all to the essence and being of Hashem, be blessed. And the existence and the not are completely equal in comparison to him. So the source for the world to come, the Yud and the Neshamos, as they grasp that glimmer that creates the world to come, both of them are completely incomparable to the source of the Yud beyond. The essence and being, the Atzmusu v'Atzmusu Yisbarich. And this is why it says that all those who dwell upon the earth are as if they're not, and that all the life of the worlds are as if they're not comparable to him. It doesn't say lo, it says kilo chashivi, as if they were not comparable. But it doesn't actually say lo chashivi. Telagabi mekoram heim lo kedugmas or viziv. But that in comparison to their source, they're not like a light and a glimmer. Rather, they're like an ilava olol. They have a comparison to their source. But in comparison to the essence, which is called in front of him, that you can't. There's no comparison. It's not a comparable level. Their nullification is not in the way of cause and effect, kilo, but as not, like the that it's only a comparison to cause and effect, but the concept of kilo chashivi actually means that it's much, much greater than that. We're only comparing it to ilava olol. It's only compared to cause and effect, but the truth is it's beyond, the source is far beyond being just a cause